We're husband and wife and business partners who aren't afraid to live life on the edge.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Juliana.
From success and wellness to candid conversations on travel, food, and culture, we're here for it all.
All right, here we go. We're back. We are back in the US of A. Got back right in time for the 4th of July, which Ryan and my kids would not miss for the world.
That's true, but we do live in New England, and 4th of July is the time. If you're ever going to be in New England, if you're going to live in New England, 4th of July is the reason we're here. Like that season, we're here for that season. And we did have maybe the perfect 4th of July.
We did.
Weather, setting, it was great.
We did. We had a beautiful 4th of July. It was really nice. It's just so funny. We're here in Rhode Island. It is gorgeously sunny and beautiful and warm and like quintessential summer right now. But we get a lot of gray days here. I mean, we've been home for how long? 2 weeks. And I would say like 10 out of 14 days have been pretty solidly gray. But that is not here nor there. So we're back. We're in the US of A. We're so happy to be here. And we're going to talk to you about our Italian trip, all the things that we did, that we loved, maybe some of the things we wish we had done differently, and just kind of rehash the whole, 3.5 weeks of
3.5 weeks.
Fun and craziness that we endured together.
So, number one, what was our first stop? Where did we go?
So we flew JFK to Milan. That was our round trip. Those were our hubs. So we started in Milan.
Yeah, I could have gone without that.
Disagree? Okay, we talked about this before. We have flown in and out of Milan a bunch. Never actually went into the city until this time to visit it. We stayed in the Brera district. It was really nice. It was beautiful. I was pleasantly surprised. I have friends from Italy, not from Milan, but from the northern region, and they've said, Milan's okay. It's a little dirty. I was very surprised. We didn't see really anything dirty.
Okay, well, let's liken it to this. We did stay in the Brera district, which is the historical district of Milan.
Yes.
And when you think, I want to go to Italy for I want to be around Roman ruins, like that type of setting, it's a very small portion of Milan. And outside of that, it's just not my cup of tea. It's sort of this they try to be modernized architecture with apartment buildings. It's not so different from some of the weird buildings you see in downtown Manhattan now.
Futuristic.
It's just, it's not the Italy you think of. It's kind of similar to Athens. Like when you think, I'm going to go to Greece, I want to go to Athens, I'm going to experience Athens. Well, if you're not staying in, what is it, the Plaka?
Plaka. Yeah.
If you're not staying there, Athens is just like this super busy city. And it's not like nothing about it screams Greece or ancient Greece.
Okay, he's not wrong. He's entirely right. But we had 2 nights in Milan, one of which, we were completely just jet lagged and delirious anyway. And we really didn't go to the outer skirts that you're talking about. We may have gone, we saw them, but we took the train in. We went right to the Centro Storico, which means the historic center. And that's where we stayed and played. So,
speak Italian?
I speak Italian. You know what that means? So that's where we spent our time. And again, it was only 2 nights. So I really feel like we got a perfect taste of the most beautiful part of the city. We had some great food. We went to the Galleria Emanuele. I thought that was so beautiful.
No, the Galleria is great. The food is meh. What is that? Milanese food they're like most famous for like a risotto, like a saffron risotto.
Milanese, yeah.
And it's okay.
So we did that. Night 1, we did like traditional Milanese food. It was good. It was okay. Not what we think of when we think of Italy. But then night 2, we had really good pizza. So it was fine. But anyway, I was happy with Milan.
If you say so.
Brian thought we could have gone without. I think we did it perfectly. I think we got a nice taste of it. I would go back. We took the kids to a cool Leonardo da Vinci museum. That was neat. All right. But then, moving on. So from Milan, we had our 2 nights. We took a train from Milan direct to Naples. Easy peasy.
That was easy.
Easy. Nice. Air conditioned.
Yeah.
No Italian strikes. That was great for us.
So about that, though, so you take the train into Naples. Then we were on our way to Sorrento. So our plan was get off at the train station.
In Naples.
And then we had to make our way over to the port, the ferry, to get the ferry from Naples across the bay to Sorrento.
Actually, no, we were going to Capri first.
Okay.
Which is close, but we were going...
Same story, though. We had to get to the port. So we took a taxi, which was okay. Super long lines for taxis. In retrospect, we should have scheduled a car, maybe, just to take us quickly over there or something along those lines. But, I mean, it wasn't bad.
Because, why?
Well, the taxis are really long, and in Naples, you do have to be more conscious about scams. So I didn't feel like waiting in the long line. So they have all these guys, walking around. Oh, you want a taxi? You want Uber? You want a taxi? I kind of knew I was walking into a bit of a scam. And what did we pay? Like €30 instead of 15. But I didn't have to wait in line. But it is sort of a scam. They just kind of throw you in there. And then we got into a car that the seatbelts didn't work, and our guy was like driving on the other side of the road, sort of the standard, stereotypical crazy Italian driver. And you're in Naples, so you're in southern Italy, where it's even crazier. The farther down in Italy you go, the crazier the driving gets. So if you're up in Florence, not that bad. Rome, getting a little dicey. Go to Naples. Make sure your seatbelts work.
All bets are off. Yeah. So, okay, that's a good thing to note. You just want to make sure when you get in a taxi, it's legitimate. I mean, this guy was a taxi driver, but basically he probably didn't have like the standard certification or whatever he may have or may not have needed. Again, it's Naples. Who the heck knows? We got there safe and sound. Not our best 7-minute taxi ride, but it's okay. But yeah, you want to have that just plotted out. And no one wants to wait in line. I'm not a good wait in liner myself. So I would have found an alternative solution anyway. But that's okay. That worked out. Ferry from Naples to Capri or Naples to Sorrento or Positano, wherever you go. Ferry's pretty good. It's gotten better over the last few years because we no longer need to go to the window and get the printed tickets. Now,
also,
you can just do it on your phone.
They have a nice new ferry port there.
In Naples, yes. We were pleasantly surprised because we were only there last August.
Yeah, so it's a funny story. So we were waiting. So if anyone listening to this has been to the Naples ferry port, you've been there on a cruise ship or you've taken the ferry in and out of there to go to anywhere else of the islands, Ischia or Capri or over to Sorrento or Positano, whatever. You typically would have to sit outside and you roast in the sun. They had some covered places with some like mister machines.
Minimal seating.
Yeah, minimal seating. And it was like you kind of just sit there and bake. So that's what we were doing this time until we got up to go to our ferry. And we had to walk through the new port, which I guess last time we were there.
The new terminal.
About 8 months ago. It must have still been under construction and we didn't notice. But it's very nice.
Very nice.
It's
clean.
air conditioned.
Yeah.
It is. They have a couple little cafes in there. You can get some espresso or whatever you want. And I wish we knew about it last time. Yeah. The good news is that we went through that negative experience. So when your mom came like 4 or 5 days later, we were able to tell her, by the way, don't sit under the sun. Just walk
nice new
50 feet over to the new terminal.
Yeah, nice new terminal. That was good. We lived, we learned. It was fine. Ferry, you always want to get there early. I'd say a half hour early is good just because even though while you may have a ticket, the people flock to get on that boat. And, you want to make sure you get a seat, especially if you're with your family. You want to have seats together. You want a place for your luggage. But it's pretty civilized, pretty calm, pretty cool. So we did that. So we went to Capri. As mentioned in the pre-Italy trip podcast episode, I was so excited to go to Capri to essentially celebrate my birthday early. So we went there and it was everything I think we could have hoped for. Beautiful, beautiful. Busy island. It's always going to be busy, especially during the day because it's like so many day trippers go there. But really nice. You can almost not find more beautiful water to swim in anywhere. Almost. But we'll get to that. So it was good. Great food. I mean, the views are incredible. My dad came. My brother came for the day. And then we ended up all meeting up, the whole family, including my mom, who eventually came over, in Sorrento.
Yeah. But one of the things to note about Capri, if you haven't been, is it's a very difficult day trip thing. It's a very, I wouldn't say very difficult, but you don't really get to experience it that to its highest form. Because there's so many people there during the day. There's so many ferries. There's cruise ships. There's just people that are staying around, maybe staying up along the Amalfi Coast that want to go there and experience it for the day. They take ferries over. If you stay overnight, you get to see a little bit of a different Capri.
Especially, I think, if you're talking about going to like the main centers of town, like the Piazzetta, which is like the little mini piazza, and the Capri Town section of the island. You've got Capri Town and Anna Capri. Anna Capri is farther up, less busy at all times, really. But it doesn't have like, all the Chanel's and the Dolce & Gabbanas and all the stores that many people go to Capri to also venture to. But yeah, the Piazzetta during the day, nightmare. 1,000 degrees and you're shoulder to shoulder. But at night, it's still beautiful and it thins out completely.
Yeah.
So that's nice.
The other thing to note, too, if you do have a weak stomach when it comes to driving or being in a car.
I thought you were going to say Cologne.
No, well, that's all of Italy. Give me a break. I spent half of my time in Italy with a headache because everyone's lathered in cologne. What I was going to say is, if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. If you take taxis in Capri, they operate with the slightest degree of space between you and stone walls and your car and other cars. And thank God your mother didn't join us in Capri. I would never want to be in a taxi car with her. Yeah, she would be screaming her head off.
She would not love that. Yeah, she would not love that. I remember as a kid going like to the Caribbean via cruise ships for the day and having to take these, like, at the time they did not have many transportation options, these like junky old vans, like up into the mountains of St. Thomas or wherever, and her just like being white knuckled, freaking out the entire way.
I mean, she does that with me now. Like in our car, going 50 miles an hour on a 3-lane highway with no cars within 50 yards of us.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, slow down.
Nervous.
Watch out.
I get it. I mean, sometimes I tell you the same thing. But you're right. She probably would not have enjoyed those. In Capri, all the cabs, for the most part, they're like cabriolets. Or is it cabriolet? Oh, my God.
I don't know.
We're going to have to Google that.
Light bulb moment.
The cabs, cabriolet. Is it a cabriolet? Is that why?
Chicken or the egg, Joe?
Oh, God, I have to look this up. But they're convertible. So even if they're like little SUVs, essentially, they're convertibles. Hold on. Cabrio. It is a B. But maybe at some point there was a P there, and that's where it all started. Anyway, gorgeous ride. I mean, views for days. Just incredibly beautiful. A little nightmarish for some, sure. But we've been on worse.
There's also beautiful history there. Mm-hmm. Or if anyone's ever familiar with, Ulysses, it's a cool thing. And if you go around the island by boat, and you can look at all the giant caves all along the cliffside of this, that's what that whole Ulysses was all about. Mm-hmm. And it's also interesting, your dad dragged us along this hike.
Oh my God. This was wild.
To walk from our Airbnb to Casa Malaparte.
Yes.
And if you've been there, you know what I'm about to say. But if you haven't, just an FYI, be forewarned, there's a lot of steps involved.
So Malaparte is an author.
Malaparte is an author, a famous author that wrote a book called Kaput it's centered on World War II. It's a manuscript about World War II. Yeah. And we don't need to go much more into it other than that. But
no, I was going to say my dad had just recently read the book. So he was all excited to be on Capri with us and to go see this famous house of the author. The house is not open itself as like a museum, but there are even tours like up just close enough so you can like get a photo from the outside. So we went on this wild adventure to get to this house.
Yeah, and the thing is, you put it into your maps, and it's like, oh, it's a 25-minute walk. That's totally fine. We have more than enough time to walk there and walk back and be able to, get our bags and make our way to our ferry. And, it'll be a nice little morning adventure. We got about 2/3 of the way there to realize we have pretty much reached the point of no return, but this may be getting ourselves into some trouble. And your dad, who is in amazing shape for a 72-year-old man, did make me a little bit nervous because there were hundreds of steps we were walking down.
It was nonstop.
Only to know that we have to turn around and walk back up this way to get where we need to go. And we are on a time restraint.
We've done a lot of hikes. We've done a lot of walks. We've done a lot of steps and stairs all over. And this one, it just felt like it kept going and going. And again, this is descending. So we're going down, but all we're thinking is, holy shit, we're going to have to go back up. And it was nuts. And it was probably, 85 degrees out. But on top of all of that, we had a ferry to catch. So like Ryan said, it looked fine on paper. We should have had plenty of time, but we got there and we were like, oh boy, I think we've gotten ourselves into a bit of a pickle. Anyway, long story short, we got there. It took a while just to get down, to be able to see Casa Malaparte and take a photo with my dad, which was great. But then we're like, okay, well, it's going to take us probably an hour to get back because we were all zonked at that point. And this nice Swedish girl happened to walk by us and she said, you can get a better photo if you just walk a little bit farther that way. And I said, oh, cool. And I just thought, maybe let me just ask her, do you know if there's an easier way to get back up? Because that was a lot. And she was like, oh yeah, I just came from this way, the opposite way of which we came. She said, yeah, I just came this way. It was totally fine. I said, you mean it wasn't steep? She said it was a little steep, but nothing to write home about. So thank God this nice Swedish girl, wherever you are, thank you for talking to us because you saved our butts going back. We did not have to retrace our intense, exhausting steps to get back. We just went a different way and it was much, much easier. And guess what? We made our ferry. It was great, but it was a beautiful walk, beautiful views. Once we got there, the house was really cool, really pretty. My dad was happy we did it. And really, it was just another adventure for us to now talk about later.
If you say so. I was exhausted. Everyone was like, oh, there's the house. All right, we got to go.
That was it. It was like, okay, take a quick picture now. Now we go. All right, but moving on. Should we move on? Is there anything else we want to mention about
next stop, Sorrento.
Capri? Okay, Capri is beautiful. We'll go there. It's lovely. Actually, you know what? I will say one more thing. I do think that one of the best ways to see Capri, you don't even necessarily have to sleep there. We did. This is the first, no, actually, no, sorry. This is the second time we'd slept there, but do a boat tour, a tour around the island where they will dock you for lunch at one of the famed delicious restaurants on the water. And that I think is a really good way to see, swim in the water, eat the delicious food with those views. I mean, that's the best.
Yeah, unless you really have your heart set on going up into
Capri Town?
Yeah, and going to all the stores and everything because they do have all the good high-end stores up there. But everything's a certain percentage more expensive because you're on Capri. But if you do it by boat, you can take a boat from Sorrento or Positano or wherever you might be, or even from Naples. You can hire a private boat or they do group tours. I would recommend a private boat. They're not terribly expensive. And you get to go around, and they'll take you around to all the different grottos, the green grotto, the red grotto. If you want to go in the blue grotto, you can, but if you're claustrophobic, I wouldn't even bother. You have to lay down in a canoe just to get into it. It's a little nerve-wracking.
Thanks.
But then more than likely, you'll get dropped off in Marina Piccolo and go to one of the restaurants over there for lunch, pick back up, go along your way. It's a good experience. For me personally, visiting these places by boat is the best option because even when you go to Amalfi or Positano, the best experience and the best view is from the boat.
From the water,
all the most beautiful pictures you see, the picturesque areas of Positano, for example, they're all from the boat.
The boat, from the water, yeah.
Being in Positano, it's very crowded. It's narrow streets. It's a lot of stores. Everyone's in and out of shopping. And it's a cool experience, but it's not, when everyone thinks of those places, you think of that view from the boat. So why not at least, if you're going to go there by boat? Yeah.
See it all by boat. I mean, these are the must-dos for sure. See them by boat. See Positano by boat. See Capri by boat. Even, Sorrento, there's more, I think, to do there. There's more to walk around and see. And get something really delicious to eat. That's going to be the cream of the crop way to experience these places. But of course, if you have more time or you're less crowd conscious, then just go see it all on foot. But okay, so that brings us to Sorrento.
Yeah.
So from Capri, we went to Sorrento. Now, we could start by saying the four of us, the Wilson clan, us two and our children, we're the ones, we flew to Milan solo. Then again, my dad met us on Capri. He had just come over to Italy with my brother and his family. So now we're on Sorrento with my dad, my brother, sister-in-law, niece and nephew. We're with them. Then my mother joins us like 3 days later. So we've got the four original Fraiolis, the Vin, Deb, Alex, and myself, and our new families who are not so new anymore. Expanded families, yeah. It was cool because, we'd said this before. We've spent time on Sorrento with Ryan's mom and stepdad and Ryan's little brother before, and we had such a great time with them. And then we'd come back. We've visited with my brother and his family before, but this is the first time we were there with both of my parents.
Also, we've spent a lot of time there, so it definitely feels like more of a home away from home type feel to it because we're so familiar with it. We have a lot of connections there now. We've gotten to know owners of restaurants. We've gotten to know people that work at the beach that we go to all the time. We even had dinner with Antonio Pizza.
We talked all about Antonio in the last episode,
We had dinner with Antonio and his wife this time, right in Piazza Tasso. And, our good friend Adolfo that we've gotten to know very well. And he might even be coming here this fall to visit us.
For Thanksgiving, yeah.
It's become very, very familiar to us, but at the same time, every single time we go there, it gets busier and busier.
True. But like you just said, because we've been there so many times and spent so much time there, it was also like introducing my parents to almost like Ryan said, a second home, but like almost like a vacation home of ours. Like, hey guys, welcome.
Yeah, almost like we're hosting them and showing them around.
Let us show you around. And everyone loved it. But to Ryan's point, this is our fourth time there. And I think, like you said, every time's gotten consistently busier and busier, which is great for tourism. Again, Adolfo, he owns AAA Concierge. He plans these phenomenal trips for people that want to visit. So it's great for the people there, but, just crowded.
We did have a couple really cool new experiences.
Oh, yeah.
Adolfo connected us with a boat that we hired for the day.
My Family Boat, it is called, which is great because I was with my family.
Yep, My Family Boat. Francesco, who, by the way, this was like the summer of France.
Everyone.
Every person we met was Francesco or Francesca. Every single person. But yeah, he captained the boat for us for the day. His parents or his father, his family owns the boat. And it was great because he also introduced us to
Casale del Nonno.
Yeah, which was the castle of his father, or his grandfather.
No.
His grandfather, which was a really cool experience. So we got to go up there. So we met Francesca. We went out on his boat. He took us all around the point of the Amalfi Coast and up and down Nerano and Positano. We had lunch in Nerano for the day, got off at a few different areas to go swimming. It was like the perfect day. It was great. But we also learned it was really cool. So 2 nights later, we went to his family's farm, which has a restaurant, which was really cool because it was almost like this private dining experience.
Yeah, it was like an agriturismo, working farm. There were, what animals were there?
Donkeys
and
peacocks.
Pigs? Were there pigs?
I'm sure there were. Just I don't think we went along to the pen, but it was great. And it's high up on the hill above Sorrento, still technically in Sorrento, but it's high up on the hill. So we had this great view, sunset view, as we were eating, looking down the mountainside towards Sorrento. And, we had a sunset over Sorrento and Capri and Ischia in the distance. And all the while you're there, you have Mount Vesuvius
waiting to erupt.
Yeah, hanging over your head. But it's just like, it's a beautiful setting. That was a fun experience, and that was something new because we had not gone. There are restaurants and there are hotels up in the hills of Sorrento. We haven't really gone and experienced that before.
Yeah, what's cool too is we've always stayed like right in the heart of Sorrento, which has been great because, you don't need a car. And again, you've got the ferry to take you wherever, or you can hire a private transfer if you want to leave town. But so not having a car, we've never wanted to stay up in the hills. We love walking outside of the apartment where we stay and going to the market or going to dinner, wherever it is. Very easy, very convenient. But being up there and looking down at the water and everything, it was funny. Again, we were at this agriturismo essentially, but it felt like we could have been in Tuscany. Mm-hmm. But the difference being we were looking out at rolling hills plus water, where in Tuscany, you're not looking out at the sea.
Right.
But it was cool because it gave Sorrento for us like a very different feeling, and it gave us another perspective for it. So we could essentially sometime go back and, do our portion in town. And then if we want to go up to the mountains, have another experience there. It was really, really beautiful. You wouldn't?
No,
oh, okay.
I wouldn't stay up there.
Well, forget I said anything.
What are you going to do every time you...
Well, I'm thinking like when we stay in Tuscany, up in the hills.
Yeah, I know, but that's a different experience. We go to Sorrento because it also is extremely convenient. Like if I want to walk out and go to a little market, it's like 2 blocks away.
Okay, you win. He's right. We might still do it. We'll see. Anyway, okay, so Sorrento's great, beautiful, fantastic. The next part of our trip, I'm going to move along unless there was something else you wanted to add.
No.
This is the part I feel like we could have changed. So we did Milan. We flew there. It only made sense to finally see it.
I'm going to preface this part of the story.
Ruh-roh. Yes.
Okay. So every time we've gone and stayed, let's just use Sorrento, for example.
Okay.
We do stay at like Airbnb rental apartments. However, we do work with someone that we became very friendly with, Adolfo. And it's like Adolfo is, he has a master's in concierge or whatever. Hospitality, whatever. He went to school to be a concierge. And his family owns many properties in Sorrento. And he's a very, very like you do get like a sense of like a luxury white glove treatment as far as like our stay there. It's very convenient. That is atypical from your normal experience of dealing with Italians and Airbnb.
This is funny.
That's going to lead into our experience that we had to deal with getting to
Well, it's pretty funny.
Tuscany.
Oh my God, the funny part is I wasn't even thinking of that. I wasn't even going to mention either of those things.
Well, I'll start because this is the portion of our trip where everything started to go off the rails. And I'll start with the fact that, so we almost missed the train. So we're already sort of like, but we got on the train and it's one of those very nice like high-speed trains. And
plus, I feel like we're really good at almost missing trains, planes, but knock on wood, we don't. So it's just kind of our MO.
We're really good at it?
At almost.
I think we've been extremely lucky that we haven't missed flights and trains and stuff. But
luck.
Anyway, I wouldn't say that luck. You're not the one that worries about it, I guess. But
man, why
anyway,
should I? We always make them.
We were going to the town of Arezzo.
In Tuscany.
In Tuscany, which is a very cool Tuscan city. I'm going to call it, it's definitely a city. It's not a town.
No, yeah.
Yeah, it's not one of those small little Tuscan towns that you can drive through in an hour. Like it's a proper city. But we did get there and we got thrown a curveball.
This was fun.
Yeah, when we went to go get our rental car. So I'm going to call them out. Eurocar, you failed.
You failed us.
You failed big time.
And we've used you before.
Yeah.
And you really left us high and dry this time.
This was a new experience for us. Europe car, yeah. Evidently, they've adopted the policy that if you do not have an international driver's permit, they will not give you a car. Mm-hmm. It is not a law.
It's not a universal Italian law, no.
Right. It's something that, so basically they're like the only rental car service that enforces this policy. Mm-hmm. So we got there. Thank God your brother was already there.
Yes, with his car that he'd kept since he arrived in Italy. He didn't take the train.
Correct. But had we arranged a car through any of the other normal Avis or Hertz, or there's plenty of international car rental services that are right there, right by the train station. You can get off the train in Arezzo and walk right over and get a rental car.
But they were all closed or did not have a vehicle large enough for us.
Right, that exact time, because we arrived there later in the day and went there, and basically like, all the other places were closing or they didn't have a car that day. So thank God your brother was there. Our Airbnb was about 15-minute drive, so he was there. He left, came, and picked us up. Mm-hmm. So then we were able to go and get a car the next day from, I think, what would be Avis or one of those. Hers. One of them.
The pickings were slim, but we got one and it all worked out. But that was a little fun hiccup.
So that's strike 2. So almost missing the train, high anxiety, high stress situation. Okay, we made it. That's fine. Get there. We don't have a car. Great.
That was fun, yeah.
By the way, Uber is not exactly a prevalent thing in Arezzo, Italy. It is in some cities, it is, but not there. And their taxi services, although they have them, I don't even know if they would have taken us out to where our Airbnb is.
Yeah,
Seems like they kind of stay right in city center.
Yeah, it was annoying. It was, for a minute there, didn't know how we were going to get where we needed to go. But again, Alex came through, worked it all out. We had to squeeze, fit in his car. And then the next day, you were able to go to another rental car place and get us one.
Correct. So there's a strike 3 involved here.
Oh, okay.
So this is where people that don't or have not traveled to Italy and done like Airbnb may not be aware, they are famously going to be sneaking in different fees and expenses, including a lot of the times there are, one of the things people don't realize when you go to Italy, different cities will have like per night, per person taxes that have to be paid cash.
I don't know that you should necessarily phrase it that they're going to be sneaking in. But
well, that's not sneaking in, but if you're unaware of it, you might not realize that they're going to, if they don't tell you beforehand that, oh, by the way, you have to make sure you have cash on hand to be able to pay this tax. Yeah. But I mean, the experience we had, we were able to arrange and book a very beautiful Tuscan villa that was set kind of high on a hill with a beautiful pool overlooking this quintessential Tuscan valley. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
However, a few things. So we got there and, as Ryan mentioned, these hidden fees. Well, I booked on Airbnb. So typically things are all taken care of there, through the Airbnb platform.
Including cleaning fee, taxes, all that stuff. Like if you book an Airbnb, typically you pay Airbnb and that's it.
Right. And then they, disperse the funds accordingly. But this particular place, apparently there were too many cooks in the kitchen. There were the owners of the home. And again, beautiful, beautiful home. But then they had not only used Airbnb, but also used a separate property management company. And then on Airbnb, they had a different property management company. So anyway, it was a big old mess. So essentially we get there finally after this whole to-do with not having a rental car. And someone from one of the property rental or property management companies was there and basically telling us, okay, so now you have to pay us a $680 cleaning fee. Cleaning fee. A $500, albeit refundable, but still a security deposit.
500 euro.
500 euros. Thirdly, then they tell us, in addition, we also have to pay separately for any and all electricity that we use. So, I mean...
And it's a big house.
It's a huge house, and there's...
In-ground pool, multiple robots moving all over the place. They had one of those like robot lawnmowers,
that was cool,
robot pool cleaner.
Yeah, and it's hot. So you've got the AC, cranking as well. Anyway, this was a big back and forth fight. Me speaking to this one and then that one. And then one guy from a property management company just letting himself into the house the next day while we're having breakfast because so-and-so says we have to pay. Anyway, it was a big, annoying disaster. And on top of it, the house wasn't fully cleaned. Many parts were cleaned, but there were things that weren't cleaned, like a toilet.
Yeah, that's kind of typical. You get those experiences with Airbnb.
You shouldn't.
Those are dice you have to roll sometimes.
No, you shouldn't. You should have a nice clean toilet when you get to an Airbnb or a hotel.
Of course you should. I'm just saying, that's not...
That's gross. I don't want to look at feces that belong to a stranger or anyone, really, when I arrive. Yes, exactly. Yuck. So that's unacceptable. Anyway... It was a mess, but guess what? It all worked out in the end. We had a nice time. We were all together. I won't make that mistake again. What exactly the mistake was, I'm not sure. Not booking with that company, not Airbnb, but one of the property management. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Because even Airbnb was telling you,
don't pay them for anything else that you haven't already paid for.
Right. And so we told them that, and they said they were going to call the police on us.
Oh, I forgot about that part. Yeah, they were like, well, if you don't pay us, the police are going to show up. That was cute. So yeah, that was annoying. So, and then at that point, probably because of all these little issues, I was thinking like, maybe Tuscany in the summer isn't the best choice. Just in general, obviously it was hot. So like going to some of these adorable Tuscan towns in the middle of the day where it's 90 degrees, not the easiest thing to facilitate. But also there was a pool, so we got to swim. It was nice.
No, it was very nice. And we were probably about 12 to 15 minutes from like downtown Arezzo.
Yeah.
So one of the things we didn't realize when we did book it is we actually booked it over when we got there. We got there on like a Thursday or something, I think. And over the weekend was one of the biggest festivals they have all year long.
Town,
like not only just in Arezzo, but like in all of Tuscany.
Oh,
There's this huge festival going on, which we realized when we got there. And I think we were going there for the first night to try and go to dinner and realized parking is almost impossible.
Packed.
It was super, super packed. The festival includes a jousting tournament that takes place in the main square. It was very, very, very busy, but it was also like, it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun to be around that kind of energy and stuff and that kind of, I mean, we've been in other Italian cities before where there's been stuff going on, good or bad. I remember walking through Naples one time when they were having protests.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool, but I didn't realize how busy it was going to be. I thought we were kind of going to this obscure Tuscan, smaller city, town.
Well, for us it was. I mean,
it was. But it is still very cool. It is an ancient, kind of like Roman little city. So you get all the cool experiences of that, and the restaurants were, everything you'd think it would be.
Oh my God, we had
there.
like some of the best truffle pasta.
Yeah, we're in the land of truffles.
Truffles, yeah, you're in truffle land.
You're in truffle land, so if you like truffles, you're going to be happy. It was great. It was cool. And then it was kind of funny because we were there for 5 nights. And so that was, I think we got there on a Thursday or Friday. So the weekend was crazy there. And then we went there like the day after for dinner again. And it was like a ghost town.
Yes.
Compared to what we experienced
because
before.
of that festival
the
weekend.
Packed streets and... we went through the main piazza where they did the jousting tournament. They had the whole thing. Like, they must bring in, like, tons.
They had, like, staging and all this sorts of stuff, of course.
Yeah.
It was nice. It was really pretty. The only reason I would say that I was mentioning before, maybe Tuscany in the summer, just because once we left Tuscany, we went somewhere else on the water, which we'll have lots of fun things to mention about. It's just the summer in Italy, you want to be on the water. I mean, the water there is just so amazing.
Yeah, Tuscany is very cool. And we've spent a lot of time in different places around there. And one of our favorite things to do is just to kind of jump in the car and go for a ride. And what was kind of cool this time is we used Chat GPT. I just kind of, hey, this is what we're looking to do. Can you arrange a tour for us for the day? So it gave me like plotted, this is how much time I want to be in the car in between spots. So it kind of just pinpointed some places for us to go to.
Okay, so
one of the cool places was Castellina di Luna.
Something like that, yes.
We just
went
there.
Tiny town.
Yeah, teeny tiny town. One of those towns in Tuscany where it takes you 45 seconds to drive through the whole thing if you didn't stop. But we stopped. We went for a little walk, a little aperitivo and pizza. And yeah, it was great.
That was beautiful. And actually, okay, so the more I'm replaying everything, I think it was the no car at the train station and the Airbnb hiccups that made me think about that with Tuscany. Actually, Tuscany's great. Go in the summer. Go all the time. Just make sure you have a pool and air conditioning.
And it was kind of cool. We went to a restaurant that we had been to before. We actually went there for Easter of 2024.
Last year, yeah.
Right. And it was another great experience. The restaurant's amazing. It is in one of those small little towns that takes you like 30 seconds to drive through if you didn't stop.
Yep.
And we had a fun little experience of sort of, again, we're always reminded of how small the world is. Towards the end of our dinner, this is like typical 3-hour Italian dinner. Our kids, I think it was your brother's daughter, went over to the table next to us that was with this family, couple, like 3 kids, 2 kids?
3 kids.
Yeah, 3 kids, couple. They were probably around our age. We didn't talk to them. And then, little Sophia walked over there. And then they spoke to us and we're like, oh, you guys are American. Because they were speaking Italian the whole time. I didn't, I'm not such a refined ear that I'm going to pick up like an American accent speaking Italian. But turns out they're American from Indiana. And they moved there full-time a couple years prior and started a wine distribution company. But it was just kind of funny because we were like, yeah, we're from Rhode Island. And they, the gentleman knew Newport and knew our town where we're from, South Kingstown and Narragansett. And he might be up here in a couple months, and we exchange information. So we may be hanging out with Charles and or his family in a few months.
Yeah, and it was really cool also just meeting another American family that really went for it and uprooted their kids and moved them to Europe. I think they're only staying maybe 3 years. They're on the 3rd year now. But what a cool experience, I think. So it was really nice to meet them and also meet the kids. The kids were a riot. Hear from the kids, what living in another country has been like for them.
They might be buying a home in Connecticut, which is like an hour drive from us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's so cool. It goes to show just by traveling how many friends you can meet, really. And that's one of the other things we really love about it.
Yeah. But either way, I mean, it ended up being a good time in Tuscany.
Yeah.
And obviously, we'll be going back there at some point. But, every single trip you and I go on, there's always going to be a portion of it that we just like, fuck that. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah,
but then
we don't have a ton of those. And really, again, I think all that I would say.
Well, maybe I do.
You say that about a lot of things. But I don't know. It was just the car and the Airbnb situation. So I don't know. Better luck next time. I'll do better research. I don't know. I'm actually quite a great travel planner. Mm-hmm. Can you at least give me that?
No.
Okay. So the end of our trip then, the last leg, we went somewhere where we've actually never gone together before. And we stayed in the Liguria region of Italy. We stayed right outside Portofino in a town called Santa Margherita, Liguria. And it was great.
I'm going back.
He loved it. And it's very rare, I feel like, that you love anything that much.
Okay. There's like 3 things involved here. Okay. Number 1.
Listening.
Surprisingly, the food was just as good, if not better, than the Amalfi Coast southern part of Italy. Typically, you've always heard the more north you go, the food does change. And it does change. It changes a lot in Italy. But it wasn't that much different because it was a seaside town. So a lot of the same sort of, seafoods, and it had great pizza up there, surprisingly, because generally speaking, the farther you get from Naples, we love Neapolitan pizza. Mm-hmm. So the farther you get from there, the less Neapolitan style is going to be.
Right. It was great.
But it was great. It was so good. The food was delicious. It was some of the best food we had during the entire trip.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2 is way less crowded than anywhere of the other beachside places we had been to that trip. So
truly,
Sorrento, Positano, Capri, way less crowded. And arguably the water is just as nice.
Yeah. So in Santa Margherita, you're about a 10-minute drive, not even, from Portofino, which I'm sure many people have heard about. And Portofino is tiny. It's almost like Capri in a sense. I mean, it's not an island, but, as far as just the caliber of shopping and restaurants and just the whole...
It's teeny tiny.
It is teeny tiny.
It's tiny. It's smaller than our street. It is a tiny little town.
It is, but it's gorgeous. And, one of those little picture-perfect postcard Italian towns.
Our kids love Luca.
Or the Disney movie Luca that takes place in Italy. Portofino looks like there. Just that whole area, Cinque Terre and all that looks very similar. So that was good. But we stayed 10 minutes from there. But in order to go to...
It's a 15-minute ferry ride, or I think it's it could be a 20-minute car ride because it is kind of a little windy, slower roads.
You're right. Oh, I'm confusing. All right, so you're right on that time-wise. But between Santa Margherita and Portofino, there's a little beautiful section of beach. It's like a little cove, inlet, essentially.
Bagni Paraggi.
Bagni Parigi. Paraggi?
Paraggi.
Paraggi. Bagni Paraggi. You're right. And it was Bagni Fiore. It was the name of the beach club. And it was... Did I do it right?
I don't know. Don't try it again.
I won't. But it was friggin' beautiful. And like Ryan said, the water comparable to being on the Amalfi Coast. But
it wasn't quite as the deep, deep blue color.
Farther out it was, though.
Farther out it was.
Yeah.
But It was like just the cleanliness of it.
Surprisingly, it was even warmer than being in the Amalfi Coast, which is more south. So
The water was warmer?
it was warmer than it was in.
No. What it was
Yes,
is
it was.
no, definitely not. What it was is I think the water was like the same temperature, but the air
Was hotter.
was not as hot as being down there. So the temperature differential between the air and the water was not as drastic. So you weren't like,
My sister-in-law, Katerina, and I both agreed that it was a little bit warmer.
cool. Well,
Up
you're
north.
both wrong because science says it.
You didn't take.
I trust the
Did you take a
science.
thermometer out? No.
No, but I mean, everyone has a weather app.
We're going to go back to seatemperatures.net and we'll compare what it was that day. Anyway, but it was beautiful. So we found a new spot that we will definitely be going back to, a new little Italian hub. And our au pair friend, Alessia, came and met us for dinner one night. That was great. We met her boyfriend, Samuele, and it was just more family fun the whole time. So again, our trip was 25 nights total. Happy to give anyone the itinerary. Happy to just point you away from the one particular Airbnb we don't recommend in Tuscany. But it was a great trip. And I'm already looking forward to going back.
Yeah, and I think Santa Margherita and Portofino, that was like a great way to end the trip because it was a lot more relaxed because it was way less crowded there. The beach was beautiful. Obviously, I'm kind of a
Mermaid?
I'm always drawn to, I love the beaches. I love, if it's good water, I don't have to have waves to have fun in the water or anything.
I prefer without waves. That way I
know
don't have
you
to be so nervous about the kids.
Yeah.
So,
But it was great. It was an all-around good experience. We did go over to Portofino for one afternoon, spent a few hours over there. But to be honest with you, that's really all you need in Portofino.
Oh, yeah.
It was like a few hours.
tiny. We had a great gelato. We had, I think, a spritz.
Yeah.
But beautiful town to walk around and stuff.
Yeah. But if you have kids that were obsessed with the movie Luca,
Yeah.
that's what it's based on. So
Technically, I don't know if Luca, I think I read somewhere it was based on like maybe, was it Monterosso and Porto Venere and Portofino? I don't know.
it's
area.
a made-up town of Porto Rosso. So it's the whole
Yeah,
thing.
Porto Rosso is a made up town.
Yeah.
But then there's Porto Venere and Portofino and Monterosso.
Correct.
Are the three real towns that
Right.
Yeah.
That they combined to create
Porto Rosso. Yeah. It was beautiful. We loved it. And the kids got to eat lots of pesto because that is what is the culinary specialty, pesto and focaccia of that part of Italy.
I could eat the vongole and anchovies every day there.
For those at home.
Clams.
Clams. And spaghetti and clams, essentially. Is that how you...
Or just the sauteed
Just the clams,
vongole.
yeah.
Yeah. But they are like vongole clams in Italy are like much smaller than they are like we're in New England.
Oh.
With the clams, little necks and stuff that we're next. They're the same but different.
And one thing to note is that Ryan had his very first Italian oyster on this trip. And I was so surprised that you didn't hate it because everywhere else you've had oysters outside of Rhode Island, or New England, I feel like you don't like them. But on Capri.
Not necessarily, but I mean, I ate oysters in Italy. They weren't Italian oysters. They were probably shipped there from New England.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. È vero.
Wait, you're joking me.
Certo.
Those were from Italy.
You're on crack. No, they weren't.
Oh my God, you're kidding me. All this time I was all like excited and thought there was something new you tried and loved and it wasn't even real.
They were probably like Wellfleet oysters or from Chesapeake Bay or very well could have even been from Rhode Island.
I'm going to call the restaurant and
You should.
I'm going to find out. Those are Italian oysters. We will get back to you because they were also like a totally different size than the ones you're used to having here.
Nope.
Yes.
First of all, size doesn't equate region. They were. Do you want me to get my poster out?
No.
Okay. I can tell by the species of the oyster that that's where they were from.
He's a bit of an oyster snob, a little oyster aficionado.
No, I'm not. I'm not a snob at all.
I'm joking. I just wanted to say that. But anyway, now I'm really confused. You rained on my parade. I could have sworn you just tried an oyster from Italy. And I think I even asked the waiter. So we're going to get back to you on this because...
He didn't know what you were even asking.
Probably not.
I remember he had no idea what you were asking. He just went, see, and walked away to go to his other table.
Great. Well,
But it was one of the first times we've ever seen oysters on a menu there.
yeah, because they were freaking Italian.
No.
And they were off the island of Capri. That's where they're from.
It's not true.
To be continued. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Let us know if you guys have any questions about Italy trips or anywhere else that maybe you want to hear us talk about, or any other ideas you have for our show, especially when it's just Rye Guy and I here. If there's any topics you want us to hit, just send us a message and we're happy to do it. But thank you for listening. Ryan, what do you have to say for yourself?
Ciao.
Ciao. He's Italian now.
And that wraps up this episode of On the Edge with Ryan and Juliana.
Thank you so much for listening, and please be sure to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform.
We'll see you next time.